Okay, so yeah, I think in the interest of time, let's begin. Uh, Let me quickly present my slide and then we can get started. Please let me know once you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it. Just make it full screen.
Is it fine now?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so as you already might have understood that we are going to talk on Azure Logic Apps and how we can use this particular capability or feature or you can say one of the component of Azure to automate certain business process or workflow, right? So we'll touch on those that what exactly it does. Uh, then we'll pitch into the next similar, I would say, tech that is out there called Power Automate. Earlier it was called as Microsoft Flow, but maybe due to some reasons that Microsoft is kind of good in renaming things as and when they feel appropriate. So it is now called Power Automate. Uh, then we'll go to some of the use cases that we can think about. We can apply Azure Logic App on some of the real world use cases. And then towards the end, we'll have a demo where we can see something in action that how Logic App can be used to maybe integrate few things and how we can maybe solve or automate certain use cases. And yeah, if time permits, and of course we can have some Q&A as well. Okay, so let's begin with the first overview. So Azure Logic Apps is there from quite some time in Azure, I would say, portfolio. So it is a cloud-based platform. Although there are ways that you can, have you can also use Azure Logic Apps template in your Visual Studio. However, you have to have internet connection. So so it means that it is not yet available to design that in offline mode. So either you prefer to go to Azure portal and design the workflow the way you want it to automate. You can have certain processes, certain capabilities, and certain tooling that you can use. And also, if you think that maybe whatever is there out there is not enough, you are very much allowed to make something custom. So custom coding or custom implementation is also very much possible there. Okay, so as this slides talk about that, you can pretty much integrate your different applications. You can use data services, and of course different systems as well. In your firm, uh, and of course it also allows you to kind of you can have a very good integration of B2B, and also different departments can have their integration, and you can see data something in very, I would say, in very easy way you can integrate and make sense out of it, right? So it provides all kind of capability to integrate within system, within our, and also B2B as well. Moving on, so I touched upon pretty similar tech that is out there called Power Automate, and maybe I'll spend a few minutes here to make you understand that based on the use case, based on your skill set, you can pick and choose what works best for you. For example, Power Automate. So it is catering to, or it is designed to keep business users in mind. So people who may not be very good hands-on in the code, but still they can do, if not completely, or at least I would say roughly 50 to 60%, I would say of capabilities, they can very much use it without writing any single line of code, right? It's all configuration and all how you design your workflow. So if you are a business user, you know business process, you know what needs to be done, but you may not be hands-on, right? So for you, Power Automate is a good choice. So, it's like admins or maybe somebody knows a little bit of it. So they can use Power Automate. At the same time, if somebody is course knowledgeable on business process, but also, also hands-on, they can write code. So if something is not already available, they are very much kind of hands-on to write additional code as well to get the job done. So for them, Logic Apps is a real place to go. As you said, Power Automate is like self-service. Some of you might remember, hearing the term called Power BI, right? So that is also, you can say, sibling of this. So it is self-service. You don't need anyone to tell you. Basically, it is designed to keep everything, whatever you need, at one place. However, for advanced scenarios, advanced integrations, Power Automate may not be a good choice. Then you got to see the Logic Apps. As I said, Power Automate is, it is for business people, or maybe you can say self-service mode. It is not, you can't really use in Visual Studio. So you got to use browser or maybe mobile app if you want, right? At the same time, Logic Apps can be integrated and can be designed, in both. However, you got to have an internet connection is what that, at this point, limitations. Coming to ALM, in case of Logic Apps, since it is keeping developers in mind, right? So all DevOps features, you can use it from end to end. So it supports that. Power Automate is basically, for business users. So they may not require a DevOps, the entire DevOps feature. They can very much have maybe different instances of that Power Automate, and they can see that what is for a non-production, and if something is pretty working well, they can promote it to production, but they may not require end-to-end DevOps support. So that's why we are saying that Logic Apps is more right candidate for ALM, right? Coming to admin experience. So I think it is these are some of the policies that any enterprise wants to put in or control. So they're pretty much available in both with slight difference. But there isn't any, I would say there are some additional features which are maybe you can find in Logic because it comes with more control. However, you can still get decent features in case of Power Automate, right? Coming to the last one, last category or areas to have a comparison, that in security, since Power Automate comes with your Microsoft 365 license, so that particular bundle takes care about the features, right? In case of Logic App, you got to use you got to additional capability of Defenders and Azure security as well. So the way it is structured. So just to summarize, if you are techie with hands-on, Logic Apps is the place to go. And if you are techie but may not have much hands-on or very little hands-on, then I think you can use Power Automate, right? But both these, I would say, capabilities are keeping to automate your business process and workflow. Okay. Moving next, let's talk about some of the use cases that you can think of, where you may want to use Logic Apps, right? So let's quickly discuss and maybe make sense out of it. So let's say that you want to, like send out a mail notifications, right? When certain thing happens. So in this case, if you look at an example, let's say in your let's say application, right? Once something got uploaded, you may want to notify the user that, hey, this is successfully uploaded. Or if there are some failures, you want to say that it got failed due to X, Y, Z reasons, right? So things like that you can think about, that you can integrate notifications. So that is an event-based notification, but you can also schedule something that, hey, for maybe every 3 hours or every 6 hours or every once in a day, based on requirements you have. Maybe you want to check that, okay, if there are any important mails came with high priority, you want to kind of categorize those and just maybe you want to send those out to person who may be responsible for maybe escalation. I'm just giving some example, right? You can think about. So it can be used in both event driven and at the same time scheduling at a given time. So both kind of scenarios you can very much use this. Other example could be that again, second example talks about let's say you're working in an e-commerce scenario where you got to process customer orders, right? So you can have this process or you can write different components, or you can club those in a way that you're able to route those orders on different systems. So whether it's on-prem or you can use on the cloud features as well. So basically you got to use cloud components and services in a way that you can use it, that how to route any certain kind of orders. If they are priority orders, you can maybe want to handle differently. If they're not so priority orders, you want to have a different kind of business rules, right? So you can very much customize what you want to do based on how you want to process orders of any e-commerce site. So that can be the other example. Third example, pretty much similar on the first one, but where we talked about that, you can move things from one resource to other resource based on how you basically design those in Logic Apps. So you can perform some of those capability as well. So these were the I would say simple example where you can think about using Logic Apps, but it is not an entire list. You can think about any other scenario where you want to schedule something, you want to automate something, or want to get something done on any event. So all those integrations, all those touch points, you can very much do that, right? So it is pretty useful on those cases. For example, we can also we are also going to look into the demo that we have that nowadays, of course, we are in a social media space where certainly it is very hard to keep away ourselves from social media, at least to the minimal extent, right? And of course, Twitter is one of them that pretty much heavily used to understand the trends and how the powers, there's like global powers, there's economical, technical, all kind of political, all kind of big shots are out there in Twitter, and they share their interest, opinions, and comments on that, right? And there's a big community that follows them. So how this also can be used, to basically read the, you can say, let's say not everyone has time to go through all the comments, right? It's very hard to go through all the comments, and sometimes we see that not every comment is kind of worth investing time also. So how we can save time, and we can also see that how things are going. So let's say that I'm just giving you one example. Let's say some company, let's say, launched a new mobile, right? And they want to see that how people are reacting to it. So one way is, of course, traditional ways that they hire a couple of people who are reading through all the, I would say, thousands of comments and making sense that, hey, this is how many positive comments versus negative comments we got. Other way, better way to automate this is you can use cognitive service capability. I think previous speaker brought that cognitive also in that discussion. So that is I would say very I would say that these cognitive services are very I would say easy to use. You can say ready-made ML. I personally call it, because not everyone can become ML expert. So what Microsoft has done is they have kept the models, trained model out there behind the scene, and they open all those cognitive services as API to the developers, so they can use it and make sense out of it, make decisions out of it. They don't need to become expert on ML models and all those data science, right? So they can use those automated ML techniques, and that is bundled as a cognitive service. So how we can use language service, it is also called, now they call it language service, earlier it was text analytics. So how text analytics or language service can be used to we can task that out. So we can say, hey, language service, please read my comments, like read that on the same example that I gave. So we can task that, hey, please read that particular set of we can give some hashtag in case that helps. So please read out all the messages of that hashtags, and please help me whether those comments are positive, means somebody praising some, or somebody is not so I would say putting some maybe they're not happy or whatever, right? So those kind of things also can be automated, right? To analyze the sentiments using other capabilities of cloud, we can integrate with Azure Logic Apps. Okay, fine. So I think we are doing good with time, I would say. So I think I may have maybe 5 to 10 minutes or say 5 minutes. So how I'm doing with time? Can somebody help me?
Prakash, you have 10 minutes left.
Sure, thank you. I think this should be good enough for me. Let me quickly share my demo so I can. Okay. Okay, yeah. Please let me know once you guys can see my machine. Is it visible or still?
No, it's not visible.
You stop your desktop sharing.
Okay.
Please share your screen desktop once again.
I'm just doing that. Okay, I think that's some close share tray. Am I doing something wrong?
Yeah, can once again share your desktop?
That's what I'm trying. Close.
Please share once again.
I'm not seeing the option to share entire machine actually. That's what
Yeah, you shared your desktop, right? So similar way you have to share, and there might be multiple screens. You have to pick the one that you have the demo.
Understood. So I'm okay to share my entire screen. However, I'm just struggling to see the option. Just give me a moment. Maybe I did something wrong here. Okay. Enter full screen. Okay. Maybe there is a lag. It is coming here. Is it feasible if I rejoin? Maybe that may help. I just want to.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Now I can see there is a tiny. Okay. So now I can see that. I hope that is helpful now. Can you guys see?
Yeah. So you have to share your desktop. You have not shared your desktop yet.
I think I did. Isn't it? Is it coming now?
It's coming up. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Sure. Thanks for the trouble. Sorry for the trouble. So let's quickly see that how we can use cloud capabilities to, or rather, in this case, Azure Logic Apps to perform certain automation in the workflow, right? So in the interest of time, what I have done is I got created some time back the setup, and I'll explain quickly that how we can perform that. It's fairly easy, at least the workflow that I'm going to explain. So I got this, this one. Sorry, this is not the one. Let me quickly go. So this is I hope most of you are familiar with this Azure, this is a screen Azure portal, we call it. Resource group is the place to begin with. It is a kind of container where you can have all those resources inside it. So this is the one I got created, as you can see, in the location Central India. With time permission, I'll talk about why I chose Central India. Okay. And then if you see, so this is my resource group, and see how many resources I got created for this particular demo that I am going to present. So I got created, this cognitive services that I was talking, text analytics, right? If you recall, I told that we can use this service to read through the text or description of, in this case, Twitter, and maybe do a sentiment analysis and help us that whether the tweets are in favorable or not so favorable, right? So this service helps us doing that. Now coming to this actually, so it gives the score of 0 to 1. So if the score is 1, means somebody is very happy. If the score is, let's say, so generally what we do is that if the score is more than 0.5, we say that yeah, users are very happy with the kind of text. So this cognitive services goes through those texts, and as I said, they have their automated trained model, can say automated ML. So they goes through that text, and maybe based on the training or kind of modeling they have behind the scene, they assume that whatever text or different words, right, if those are used, means somebody is putting a favorable kind of response or message, and maybe if it is not, then maybe somebody is not doing that. So to achieve that, I have.
Sorry to interrupt, Prakash. You have 5 minutes left for your session.
Sure. I think I'll be able to sum up, in 5 minutes. Thank you. So in this case, as you can see, so this is the, this is the text analytics service, and this is the, I'm going to use connection. So what I'm doing is that I'm basically reading all the, you can say tweets of a particular hashtag. So I'll show my designer of this Logic app. And this is a Logic app, and then it also needed storage account. So in the interest of time, I'll quickly jump to the Logic app, how this looks like, and how you can, in this case, give an example how you can create different kind of a schema. So let me open that Logic App Designer. So here you go. So this is the Logic App Designer. So if you look at this, how I have done it, that so this is the kind of template I have used. So there are all kind of template. There are some Office template. There are some other services template. So based on what you need, you got to choose the right kind of template. So I have taken this Twitter template where when a new tweet is posted. So I have established connection from this to my Twitter account. So you got to so that I'm allowing or I'm authorizing Twitter to, or my this connection to be able to read tweets from my account. So that is the first thing that you got to do, that you need to establish a connection from this particular control to your Twitter account in this case, right? Otherwise you need to kind of do something similar for other connections that you want to do. So I'm searching the text Hyderabad that make and how often I'm doing that. Every 15 seconds, so you can configure those things. Of course, time zone, the India time zone. So these things, we need to set up basically the connections that how we want to read that data initially. This is a connection that you can see. This is my own account connection. So that is the first thing. Second thing, once tweets are read, I'm using this, detect language cognitive services capability where I'm reading. What is my ID? How how this as we all know that everything has to have one unique ID. So in this case, tweeted by is something that we are helping to. We are telling that hey, this is the ID of this particular schema. And what is the text? So tweet text. So we are saying indirectly that hey, please go and basically look into the text actually. And what we are saying again is that once it is read. And once sentiment is analyzed, what we are saying that hey, please go ahead and dump that into the Excel, in this case Google Sheet, where you're saying, and also so we are saying that please dump all those things into the Google Sheet. So this is a Google Sheet I created. You can also create something similar. So I created tweeted by, the same thing schema we're looking into, text and score. So as you see here, we got a score here. So it is if the sentiment. So this is coming from Cognitive Services Language Service API. Okay, you can ignore this. It's some system generated things came in. So these three are fields are important ones. Who tweeted? What was the text? what was the score. So as you can see, people are writing something good about Hyderabad. So the score is more than 0.5, right? In some cases, let's say somebody is not saying something great. So that the time the score may not be, for example, somebody there was some didn't happen, some death and all, right? So somebody is talking about death. So it is sensing that maybe it is not a good, I would say, thing about Hyderabad. So it scored 0.33, and hence the it is showing into not green. So things like that you can automate. So in this case, we could automate that what was the sentiment on the on certain hashtags or certain text that somebody sent, and we don't need to really go through each and everything to make sense, right? So like that we can put, so I have put this into Excel, but maybe you can also use some other data sources for persistent storage, maybe, depends on your use case. So that's pretty much from my side. Any questions on that? I'm happy to take. I know we are on top of the time.
Prakash, we have 2 questions.
Sure.
So I'll read it for you. The first one is, may I know the difference between Azure Logic Apps and Azure Functions? And the second one is, what is the max file size to read file from SFTP using Logic App?
Okay, so I'll take the first one first. So, Azure Functions app are basically, they are used to perform, they're like mostly now we also got a stateful, but generally they are stateless. So, some of the use case you can get it done from function app as well. However, there is some things that function app is not a great choice for it. So function app are great choice for the use case when you want to get something done quickly and return the data. So you can assume function app, maybe some API in cloud. So let's say that we all know what functions, right, and methods, right, from ages we are writing. So you can put some visual functions into the cloud, and we just can call and get the result. So it supports multiple kind of binding like HTTP, and we can also have all kind of binding to get it done. So something you want real quick, so you just send input and get the output, right? Some kind of posting you can assume. Serverless architecture is what behind the scene is mostly used, right? So function app is good for that. And if you want to integrate certain, I would say, different processes, then you got to use Logic App. So Logic App is designed by keeping different use case and intent. Hope this helps. Coming to the next end, sir, I need to check the exact number. I don't recall in my top of the head. The capability, maybe I would suggest that Microsoft documentation of that Azure function can really give you that, right? So that is something stats keep changing based on the newer version. So I think for most use cases, we don't need to worry about that limit. That is very high in generally. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prakash, for sharing your deep knowledge about Azure Logic Apps. It will be a great pleasure for us to listen to you again in our future events.